So what are the most common mistakes when what we see in estate planning? Now, the reason that I can tell you what the most common mistakes are is because our law firm has whole estate planning department where we do all this work. And then we have a whole team dedicated to working with families who are dealing with mistakes. And so far, our clients who do the estate planning with us, we have a 100% success rate. They don't end up in that team. So we just get referrals from other attorneys, people find us online, whatever, to do that stuff. And we see mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Here's the four most common mistakes that we see. Number one, the first and most common thing is somebody who did it themselves, the DIY, and they got something wrong in the process. Look, we've done this for thousands of families. We're sort of doing it. I mean, we're doing it. We figured it out along the way. Now, I have to say, if you have done it thousands of times too, you will have learned all of the mistakes and you'll be able to fix it. Doing it yourself once, it's like you got to fix the little problem at home, the little, I don't know, a little plumbing problem or a little whatever. You end up going back and forth to Home Depot, what, 6 times in one Sunday, so you could get the little thing fixed, whereas the plumber would come in and he'd go rent, 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 done. It's the same thing. You just haven't done it 1,000 times before. So the most common mistakes we see on a DIY basis is that they won't word it correctly. In their head, it's so clear. It's like, what I want is for all of it to go to my daughter. Seems like that should be simple. But then they pass away. The daughter goes to sell the house and they say, well, you've got to file this in probate. Probate looks at it and says, well, this is a little bit vague. There's a technical glitch here. And so we've got to notify all the family members, long lost family members, that they may have a claim to this estate. And oh, yes, then we end up in 2 years of litigation over that, which is an exact circumstance that happened to us. On a DIY basis, I know it might be clear in your head. It's got to use the legal wording so that it cuts things off so that it can't be contested. That's the real problem with the DIY language. When you just kind of use, the normal words that we use to talk every day, legalese is there to cut things off so that it can't be contested. That's the first mistake. The second mistake is people not getting a signing done correctly. We see this from people who do it themselves, and we also see it from law firms, unfortunately, who don't do a lot of this work, is they go to sign all the documents and it's just not signed correctly. Yeah, you have to have a very specific signature page. It has to have very specific words on there. Different types of documents in these situations require different types of signature text. They require different types of signature text, different number of witnesses, different notarization language. I mean, it's all very different. I don't know why the laws are so crazy, but they are different. And if it's not done correctly, I mean, I've even seen some law firms just completely forget to sign one of the documents in the stack of, 12 documents. So that signing ceremony, it has to be done very carefully. The third most common mistake is that you set up a trust and nobody ever told you needed to put stuff in it. What do you mean put stuff in it? Yeah, they said, they put the house in it. We're done, right? Nope. You got to also go to your regular checking, savings, your bank, your investment accounts, your 401k, your life insurance, your annuities, your car title. Yes, your real estate, your personal belongings around the house. I mean, you've got to fund, we call that funding. You've got to fund your trust with everything. It's got to be coordinated one way or the other. And if it's not, you end up with a mess. The fourth most common mistake is not updating the plan as life goes on. So like I said, we have a whole department that does the planning. We have a whole department that does the administration or the work after somebody passes away. In that department, the ones that blew up and are a big giant nightmare are mostly because either there wasn't anything in place at all, but then there's also a big chunk of them where they did do a will, they did a trust, and it's blowing up. It's a big nightmare. Why? Because they didn't keep it up to date. It's 10 years old, 20 years old, and the family's like, this doesn't even apply anymore, or the bank or the real estate agent or the title company who's trying to sell the house, they're like, this thing's old. We can't honor this, or we have to honor it, but it doesn't match your guy's life at all. Too bad. You got to keep. So, number one, DIY, you got to be real careful. Your signing ceremony, got to be done correctly. You've got to fund your trust, and you got to keep these things up to date. Those are the four most common mistakes that we see in estate planning.